Yeah. So really, one knows here is showing here a very strong social question, which is about society's intention and society's unification and unity. And if there is no unity, things will never be achieved. Things will never be really as they should be in a real sense. And that's why here one member of society would not be enough, or is not enough to score what the whole society wanted. And the idea really is given here to us in a very symbolical way, in a very dramatic way, in a very funny way, to say that that the elephant is not happy because he needs a wife. Of course, this is totally out of the question, totally is out of the blue, totally is not true, totally is not correct. It's nothing to do with being lonely or not. But of course, it was a very funny, really supposed to be funny, ironical twist by Zechariah to express his terrible shock by his own people, by his own society, whereby he rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. They have, he tried them, they practiced a lot what to do and what to say and how to do and how to come to the king and how to speak and so on and so on. And they should be all speaking in one voice, because he wants to say we will be speaking in one voice. All of us, all of us here are thinking of the same topic, the same thing, the same problem, which is our problem. The king has no idea, the king doesn't know. And how should you blame? How do we blame? How do we blame anybody in authority when they have no idea? Nobody told them. A king or a leader or a president or anybody who, he has people around him. He has his ministers, his viziers, or as he said, wazirs, his ministers, his men, his aides, his military, etc., the intelligence people, and so on. So many, many people around him or her. But if all these people don't tell him what's going on really, how would he know? So this is the question here. The question is, people think that the elephant, is the king's absolutely, if you like, spoiled like child, for example. And people wouldn't dare do or say anything against the king or against his elephant and so on. But the idea is, they say it's only rumor. It's rumoring. Nobody knows for sure, absolute sure. And they counted so many times about the, about the injustice and about the bad things that's happened to them and so on and so forth. And again, the whole thing was not clear, not tested, not true, completely true. And here, of course, we come to the question of how really Zechariah wanted his people to join in this business of uniting themselves about taking one single action, right? And Zechariah is always wanting to say, we want to do something. And they said, how? And he told them, we can all go together, we can practice. Notice, I think here we can, on this in this page, I think towards the middle of the play, nearly. Today it was an innocent child, tomorrow who knows? Zechariah enjoys his mischief. The more he destroys, the sharper it makes his appetite for destruction. Have you heard of those blood-sucking creatures that get thirstier for blood the more they suck? For blood, still more blood. Voices, Lord, have mercy on us. Oh God, help us. Endure, but don't forget, friends, he is the king's elephant. Again, Zechariah goes on, and they always say, we did this and did that, and they say, well, he's the king's elephant. Sucking our blood and no hope anywhere. Do we have blood left in our veins? God only knows. Patience is the gateway to salvation. But how much longer can we be patient? Voices again in the same thing. Until God sends us his mercy. Zechariah, we will all be dead before that comes. We have had enough of poverty. Again here, you know, they counted and they counted. And again, the idea of rumoring, it's not really for sure and for certain. It's all maybe gossiping. Taxes and diseases, injustice and forced labor. And now along comes the elephant that trample what is left. Our children, our livelihood. You never are safe. You are never safe, never. And you know, they wanted to say to as if to say, come on, we should do something. And here you can see in the next section, everybody saying, we want to do something. And these stories, notice here the idea about, notice, I think I should, this. People have seen him feeding the beast with his own hand and watching over his bath. They say when he leaves the palace, he goes back in, the royal band plays. Whatever he wants, he gets by right. Whatever he does, it has the force of law. You know, they are talking here about the elephant, what the elephant wants and what the elephant does. As I said, really, in real life, the story here is more really political, even about the people in power, the people who are in power, whether they are, you know, high in power or even low in power. Sometimes they abuse their power, and this is really the idea he wants to say about it. But again, to go back to the symbolism that you know, as if to say that the king did not or is not aware of all this, or you know, nobody knows about it. Again, Zechariah said, those are just stories. Stories. So you don't know who told you this. They're only stories. Things that have been blown out of proportion. You know, exaggerating and exaggerating and exaggerating. How do you know? Anyone would think you didn't live in this city. Again, Zechariah, I do live here. Tell me, who has seen the king feed the elephant or watch him take his bath? No one. Maybe he loves him. No doubt he does. Kings always love their elephants, but you are blowing things out of proportion. As if to say, who said that to you? How do you know? You know? And I think this is in a way, the idea that sometimes people create stories. I don't know. I mean, this is really the idea here that the writer wants to say this about, you know, the gossip. Again, the question of the gossip, who and what and so on. But again, the question really, notice here, Zechariah again said, so who wants his son to be the next picked up from the streets in beds? Again, he wants to say, okay, you're saying all this, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Notice, how about you? Notice he's saying here, how about you then? You wouldn't mind losing some or one of your children, would you? Again, he's just annoying them to say, are you going to do something about it? And I think you can see here, which is really very funny, Zechariah is saying to them, okay, let's do something. Zechariah said, who knows? Maybe the king doesn't realize what his elephant is doing to us. And this is it. Yeah, absolutely. The king has no idea. The king does not know. Again, they say voices, maybe not. Zechariah, maybe they don't tell him because they don't want to upset him. Maybe not. He's a real man. All right, then, it's the only way. We will have to go in person, tell the king the way things are with us. Yes, we will have to. True enough, the sooner the better. We will go and see the king and ask him for justice and redress. God have mercy on us. It's risky even so. And, he's telling them, let's do it. And here in the next section, you can see the rehearsal. Really, it's a very funny rehearsal, which is, the practice. Again, I think it's very funny. He's telling them, practicing what to behave, how to say, what to say, etc. to the king when they arrive there. Again, you can see here all the time, Zechariah is emphasizing unity. Unity. Notice here, Zechariah trying to calm them and improve some order. As I keep saying, the crucial thing is discipline. Discipline. Really. Order is order. We want people to be ordered, absolutely ordered, disciplined. We have to say the same thing with one voice. The more united we are, the more effect our voices are going to have. We will go in like this. We will bow to the king in a completely civil and courteous way. Then I will cry out, the elephant, Lord of all time. The elephant, Lord of all time. Al-Fil, Ya Malik al-Zaman. So, he's saying, I will say it, and everybody else will repeat with me. And here, of course, they have agreed to do that. And I think this is really funny. Again, from now on, he would go on to say, the elephant, Lord of all time, nearly killed Abu Muhammad Hassan, etc. And then he goes on repeating the same thing. The elephant of all time. And, he goes on to say this for many times. I think this repetition is just for mockery and for laughter, and maybe to emphasize again that we should do the same thing. We should behave in an orderly way. And I think he says that many times here. As you can see, you can always see Zechariah is repeating. Notice how many times here, notice, the elephant, Lord of all time. Again, Zechariah, the elephant, Lord of all time. Again, here, notice Zechariah, the elephant, Lord of all time. And he goes on and on and on, because, as I said, look at this last here at the bottom of this page. Zechariah waving his arm to protest. We are still nowhere near getting it right. We must speak with one voice, all together. You see, I think this is the main theme of this play. When we are united, no power will be able to take us away. And I think this is true. Really, really, any nation, any country, any land, any village, any city, any place, you know, when it's unified, when it's so one voice, one heart, one hand, one deed, one action, one etc., it will be more powerful, it will be more effective. And I think the play here is saying, if you are not united, you will never succeed. And you know, this is really true, absolutely true, absolutely true. And I know this. Even now, now, in it's my own country in Syria, we are not united. We are not united in any way. So that's why we are still in total disarray, in total confusion, in total loss, in total disorganization, in total terrible tragedy, people killing and etc., because we have no idea what's going on. And we are not united whatsoever, which is really terrible. And I think this is exactly what he wants to say. We have to be in one voice, he said. One, we must speak with one voice altogether, clear and distinct. Otherwise, the king won't be able to make sense of it. And when he won't be moved by the things we tell him, and he won't have any pity on us, this isn't one person's complaint. It is our complaint. That's why we have to voice it as if we were one person, as if we were one person. Yeah, this is it. This is the main problem. Zechariah went there with his people. They were all together. And he thought, or he planned, his plan was to have all of them speaking in one voice. And when they did not, when he looked at them and nobody said a word, Zechariah was very angry and he turned against them. And he totally switched and destroyed the whole story, totally damaged the whole message. And he became enemy of the people. He became the enemy of the people. He became the enemy of the people by saying that the elephant needs a wife. The elephant never needs a wife. But because Zechariah was mad, was absolutely angry with his people, not because he was afraid of the king, not because he was afraid of the king. I think not because he was afraid of the king. No. Because originally the story, the message is, we will speak in one voice, and when the right moment comes, nobody speaks. So Zechariah is saying to them, you stupid people, you crazy people, why don't you speak? Why don't you speak up in one voice? Notice Zechariah again, he says the same thing here to tell them, notice, just one last time he's warning his people. Careful now and make sure your voices stay all together. Let us get this over again with. Let's get this over with once and for all. Now ready? The elephant lord of all time. So he wants everybody to repeat the same. When Zechariah says the elephant of all, to say the elephant Lord of all time. And the group in voices, they all say the same thing. One voice. Killed Muhammad al-Fahad's son, trampled him in the street, left him just a mass of flesh and blood. or flesh, a mass of flesh and mud, not blood. As the lights fade, the voices become increasingly lost and, less distinct. And Zechariah here, he goes on to repeat the same thing. The elephant, Lord of all time, nearly killed Abu Muhammad Hassan's the other day. He is still helpless on his bed. And here they come to the king. Before the king palace, people are gathered before the palace gate, which occupy most of the stage. They are waiting and chanting together. Voices again. The guard still hasn't come back. They won't let us in. Why shouldn't they let us in? Again, they were asking and questioning about this. And Zechariah's voice again. Zechariah said, subjects have the right to see their king. Anybody would like to comment about the word subjects? Anybody? Anybody? What does it mean here, subjects? Hello, my boys and girls, where are you?
I guess it means the public people, so they are unhumanized here.
You mean inhumanized? Why?
Maybe
subjects? Yeah.
Maybe because they are seen like nothing. Like they are not worthy to be humans.
Really? Yeah, anybody?
I think the subject is like king have subject to deal with, to like focus on them and see what is their problem.
Yeah. Any ideas? Because he's saying subjects, what he's saying, subjects have the right to see their king. Yeah, somebody said, you say, yeah, somebody said citizens. Yeah, Sarah, citizens. Yeah, but Sarah al-Mashari? Sarah?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah? Tell me, what do you mean?
The people that live there. But maybe he that
Why saying in English subjects?
maybe he's focusing more on the problems and the issues he wants to discuss with the king rather than the people themselves.
Yeah, but look at the sentence. Subjects have the right to see their king. Huh?
Maybe he is using the word subject here to show that usually when I say something, subject is something that is owned. Like, this is my subject, I own you, as if they don't own themselves, and the king has the right, I don't know, to control them, or as if he owns them, I mean.
Ibtihal, you came very close to the real meaning. Ibtihal.
Yes, doctor.
You came very close to the meaning. Can you elaborate a little bit?
I mean, maybe due to the situation they are forced to live in, they start to believe they are the subjects of the king. They lose their voices. They I don't know. It's something like
So if you lose your personality and yourself, how come then you should say object instead of saying subject? We say we were objected. We become like objects. We are nothing. When you are nothing, so you are like an object. It means you can't do anything. Things is done to you. Things are done against you, or things done, you know, at you or through you or on you, but not you are no longer the, you know, the action maker yourself. Whereas when you say the subject, when you say, what's the subject in grammar? Yeah, when you say I speak English, where is the subject in the sentence?
I.
In Arabic, what does it mean?
الضمير.
I.
أنا.
في محل إيش؟ في محل إيش؟
مبتدأ. في محل رفع مبتدأ.
Yeah, but it's فاعل, isn't it? أحمد شرب الماء.
Yes.
أحمد ضرب أخاه. وين الفاعل؟ الفاعل, isn't it? We say فاعل and مفعول به, correct?
Correct. Maybe he is using subject here to show that it's kind of is their choice because they do nothing to change this.
Yeah.
It's not like it is just forced in them, but it is also a kind of it's their choice, as if they start to like it maybe because they do nothing to change this.
Yeah, Ibtihal, yeah. Any other comments? Really, ladies and well, I have only one gentleman, I think. I don't know. Yeah, subject has double meaning here, doctor. Who is this? Oh, Ishaq, yes. When you say a subject in place context is like the people who's under the king's rule. However, here in a way, subjects show as if they are merely subjects who is worth isn't really much. Yeah, Ishaq, yes, but not exactly like what you're saying. Really, it's really very clear. It should be, I will explain it. It should be very clear. Really, in English, in the system, normally we say like, no, not accused one. Sarah said the accused one. They are not accused, Sarah. No. Really, in real sense, we the people, for example, and we have a king, or we have the president, or anybody. The whole general people in English, it means the subjects of or for the king or of the king, means his people. They have their own personalities and power. They are the doers of their actions. They have the freedom. They have the power, not being objected. So we say the subjects of the king means the people of the king, who are respected and yet controlled, and yet they deserve, or the king expects from them full respect and full obedience. They obey their king, but still they are subjects. They are the doers of their action. They are not objects. They are not slaves. And that's why in the system of the British monarchy, I think here it's a very funny word that's used in English. They use it in a very funny way, strange way, in really complicated way. Subjects here means both, means really both. Subjects means, you know, people of the country who obey the king, and yet they have their own character, yet they have their own power, yet they have their own personalities to show themselves as free people. Like when you say, you know, al-muwatin or al-muwatana, right? You are a person of this nation. Like the citizenship, as we say, or the nationhood, or the citizenship. And you have your own individuality, and yet at the same time, the king has the power to ask people to do what he wants them to do, and they will do it gladly, but with their own determination, with their own freedom, as if to say, with great respect to all the nation, with great respect to all the people. You understand? So that's why they use the word subjects here to mean really the real good citizens, obeying and yet free, obeying and yet free, obeying and yet powerful. You understand? So the meaning here is a bit complicated. That's why you can see it in the play here when he said, you know, subjects have the right. And again he said, Voices says, since when did anyone care about rights? Suppose they do not let us in, what are we going to do then? Don't worry, the king will let us in. And you can see here, of course, when they arrived, and when you can see here again, Zachariah again telling them for the last time, don't forget, we are all to speak as one. We have, notice, we all have to speak as one, with one voice. Here is the guard coming. The guard is coming back at last. And, you know, the guard telling them to be careful and so on. So they went in before the king. The guard enters, followed by the people. Everybody is struck by a mounting sense of awe and fear. There is a suppressed buzz of amazement. Voices again. Look at those fountains. I don't believe it. Look at the marble. It's shining in all different colors. Zachariah's voice. Walk slowly. Don't shuffle your feet on the floor. Voices again. Don't. The guards look fierce. They just want, wait for the signal. Then it's off with people's heads. We are going into the palace. And, you know, the voices again. And I think it's very, very, really funny here. I think I will read that quickly. Notice, we will soon have a sight of the splendid throne. It's making me weak at the knees. What is a hole? What a hole. My heart is pounding. Look at the carpets. The walls are glittering like sunlight. Where is the king? There is another door opening. The guard opens a door at the end of the hall. The door is guarded by 4 soldiers. Again, the voices. Every door has its own guards. There are more of them every time. You would think their faces are made or were made of stone or steel. I'm sweating. Girl, notice here, the girl is speaking. Where is the king's hiding? Where is the king hiding away? You know, notice the simplicity, the naivety, the real the real innocence of the child, using the word hiding away. And the voices say, shh, it's a golden tunnel. Voices again, the Zechariah said, get a grip on yourselves. Voices again, it's dazzling. Where are they taking us? This is fearful. There are guards everywhere now. They chop off heads as soon as yawn. It is a maze, this palace. The guard again stops them and speaks to them, and he said, okay, now you go in. Notice, and the king, of course, just saying to the guard to let them in. Notice here, notice even what he said. My heart's pounding. The guard remaining at the door and facing inwards. The commons of the city, your majesty. How do you translate this? The commons of the city. Tihal?
Well, sorry, I lost connection, sir. What you were saying?
I'm saying, what's this in Arabic? The commons of the city, your majesty. Here, the guard is saying this to the... Sorry?
عامة الناس.
Yes, yeah. عامة العامة، عامة المدينة، عامة البلد، أهل البلد، يعني أهل الديرة كلها. The commons means all the people. العامة، عامة الشعب. Okay? And the king said, from within, have them come in. Means let them come in, all of them. Guard, you can go in now, keep your heads bowed. Zechariah leads the people in. Their expressions and steps alike show mounting panic and confusion. The way they were speaking, they look like, the way they were walking, it shows that they were panicked and confused. Voices again, hoarse and tremulous. Hoarse, the word hoarse here means the voices are not clear, they can't speak because, as if to say, because of fear and because they are trembling. Notice tremulous, they are really shaking with fear. And that's why their voices became hoarse, means not really clear. The king holding his scepter. Scepter, it's like a stick, like a big stick, which is the source of power. It's called scepter. Sending out light like the sun. Keep your heads bowed. The guards are like ghosts. Again, the voices here speaking about, together, as if to say. In every corner, such a high throne, and the king glittering like a meteor. The king. Look at this. Glittering like a meteor? What's meteor? Hello?
Doctor, what is the question again?
Sorry?
What is the question again?
Are you losing connection? Who's this speaking? Tihal, is it?
No,
Zainab?
Yes.
Zainab. Yeah. Oh, Zainab, how are you? Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. I thought, yeah. The question I'm saying, what's this meteor? And look at the idea. The king, shining, he said, Notice, glittering like a meteor. Can you see it, Zainab?
Nayazik.
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, Nayazik.
كالشهب.
A shuhub, yeah. But look at this description. The king glittering like a meteor, the king. You know, as if to say, what does it tell you? I mean, look at the way they describe this. And the guards are like ghosts in every corner. Such a high throne, the king like a meteor. And, you know, the whole thing is exaggerated, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, very much exaggerated. And it's really in their minds to say, like, you know, كالشهب أو كالشهاب في السماء, and so on, you know. And really it's to do with the, again, really the misconception and if you like, understanding about what really, you know, the king or kings are. You know, in a way here, of course, it's to do with the people's misconception about people in power or people in authority. The faces freeze and their fear turns to chilly silence. All the heads, including Zechariah, are bowed. You know, they show, you know, respect to the king. And then, of course, you bow like that, and then maybe you get up. You don't bow forever. You know, you bow and then you go up, you know. So notice here, they bowed, they stumble on, bowing as low as they can, unable to stand up straight again. What do the subjects wish from their king? You know, here the king is immediately saying in a very nice way, ماذا يريد الشعب من ملكه؟ ها تفضلوا قولوا لي يا أولاد يا أحفادي يا أبنائي ماذا تريدون? Isn't it? What do you want? And notice here again you use the word, what do the subjects? Again notice subjects. You know, as if to say, my own children, what do you want? There is a heavy silence. There is a heavy silence. Not a sound can be heard. They are just a group of silent, bowed bodies. Bowed bodies. أصبحوا فقط مجموعة من الأجساد. Notice here, I don't know what he said this in the text in Arabic. As I said, really, I don't have the text, and I must admit I've never read it. I read it before, but I'm not really sure if I did read it, but I saw it, I think, yeah, in the text as in Arabic. But somebody last time read one passage, but here it should be like this: silent, bowed bodies, أجساد منحنية صامتة خرساء. King, you have come, you have leave to speak. What is your complaint? Means, please, I will give you all the freedom to speak. What do you want? What is your complaint? Zechariah plucking up his courage and speaking in a tremulous voice. The elephant, Lord of all time. And, you know, he said what they practiced, and the king said, what about the elephant? Voices from the group, tremulous, kill. They just said one word, kill. And they The voice is stifled, and the man turns around, and the man turns around in panic. Zachariah speaking more firmly. The elephant, Lord of all time. Zachariah again said the same thing, and king losing patience. What about the elephant? Girl in a low voice. Killed me. The frightened mother puts her hand over the girl's mouth to stop her speaking. And king, what was that? Zachariah confused, but angry too, speaking more loudly. The elephant, Lord of all time. King, I'm running out of patience. What about the elephant? Zachariah, desperate now, turning to the bowed, panic-stricken bodies. The elephant, Lord of all time. King, stop whining, will you? The elephant, Lord of all time. Speak up, or I will have you whipped. Zachariah gazes at the group, first desperately, then with disdain. Notice here, first desperately, because he was angry with them, desperate. And notice, then with disdain. With real disdain. What's disdain? Really means contempt. He looked at them in contempt. The look on his face changes as he moves forward toward the king. So really, this is the idea. He looked at his people, didn't say a word. They didn't say a word. So he was shocked, absolutely mad at them. And that's why desperately, he was terribly angry with them.
Doctor,
Yeah?
I didn't understand why they were afraid. The king was nice. He didn't say anything. So I tried to understand, but I couldn't. Like, what was the reason?
Yeah. Okay, Zainab. Yeah, any ideas? Yeah, I will. Any comments? Any answer?
I think this was because how the guards treat them and how they saw things that they never saw before in the palace. They was amazed and they think that this is upper of them. They can't talk.
Yeah.
I think it's because the illusion they built in their minds about the king and that he's a bad man or an angry man. So I think maybe this is the reason.
Yeah. Really, it's to do, as I said, it's really to do here with the, as Zainab said, really the whole play is saying that the king, it seems, as you can see, he's a nice man, absolutely good, nice, honorable man. He has no idea, absolutely has no idea what these people, saying. And I'm sure if they told him the truth, he would never want his elephant to harm his people. And he said, what do you want? I will give you what you want. As a good, really honorable, of course. And this is really the idea that these people here, as you say, the total misconception, the total confusion. It's to do with their own personality, their own fear, their own weakness, their own inability, their own really misunderstanding, and it's their mistake. It's their mistake, their loss. And you know, that's why, of course, as I said, Zechariah turned absolutely angry. And that's why you say disdain. He looked at them with disdain, with contempt. Why are you absolutely dead? What's wrong with you? Why? You know, so we are given a good chance to speak and so on. What's wrong with you? So really, that's why here he changed the whole story. Zechariah absolutely became absolutely, as I said, from here, he became completely against them because he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. He could not believe it. As if he tried and tried and tried to teach them, to tell them to be one voice, because we have the power, we are entitled. So why not? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You have all these bad ideas. You have all those wrong ideas in your minds. And there's nothing wrong. In reality, there's nothing wrong. In reality, everything is fine. Why didn't you speak? And that's why really I'm saying here, to some extent, maybe people will say, well, he became like being an anti sort of people, but it was a twist. It was a strange twist, really an amazing twist against the people to say, well, when you people are always quiet and don't say what you should say, you'll always suffer. Nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to help you if you are coward enough, or if you are not courageous enough to complain, to say what you should say. You had the chance to say it, and when that little baby wanted to say it, you know, they shut her up. Her mother shut her up, you know. And here Zechariah, of course, really, notice he said, we love the elephant, Lord of all time. We love and cherish the elephant, sire, as you yourself do. When he walks in the city, our hearts fill with delight. We are happy indeed to see him, so much, sire, that life without him is unimaginable now. And yet, your majesty, we mark how the elephant, by reason of his loneliness, fails to receive his due share of happiness and joy. Loneliness is a wretched thing. Loneliness is a wretched state, my lord. And so we, your loyal and loving subjects, come to you today to beg you that you will find the elephant a wife, a consort to relieve his loneliness, in the hope that then he may have scores, no hundreds, no thousands of offspring to fill the entire city. Voices hoarse and painful rough. Find the elephant a wife? King roaring with laughter. Is that what you have come for? Ho, 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 ho. Huh? You know, come on, my people, come to this. We trust our Lord and Master will not deny our request. And King, of course, to his ministers and courtiers, did you hear that? Now there is an interesting request. I've always said how lucky I am, or I was, to have such loyal, loving, tender, kind-hearted subjects. My subjects are brimful of affection, and naturally we will bow to the people's demand. You see, naturally we will bow. The king saying we will bow, okay? We shall bow to the people's demand, he beats with his scepter. The king thereby decrees, first, that an expedition shall be sent to India to search out a wife for our elephant. Second, in this noble, courageous man shall be rewarded with the post of, resident companion to the elephant. Third, that the wedding night shall be a public holiday with food and drink served free of charge, and the festivities lasting 5 full days and nights. God bless our bounteous king and preserve him for us. Hoarse the voices. God bless our bounteous king and preserve him for us. King, your demands have been met. You may now go. They begin to move humbly away, fade out. Suddenly the stage is lit up again. Group, that was a story which we acted in the hope we can all learn a lesson from it. Do you know now why elephants exist? Do you know now why elephants breed? But this story of ours is only the start. When elephants breed, a new story starts. A violent, bloody story which one day will act, which one day we will act for you. Ghassan al-Malih and Christopher Tingley, translated by him. Yeah. I mean, it's really an amazing twist, isn't it? A very funny, amazing change of events. And as I said, really the whole play is very symbolical. It's very symbolic and very meaningful to say people have to be people to show their, if you like, position and understanding, and to be clear and not to be fearful. I don't blame, nobody really blames here, if you like, we blame only the people who had the chance to speak, but they could not, they could not, I don't know, could not. Because when you say they wanted to speak, that baby wanted to speak, that girl, they shut her up. So they would not. Anyway, the whole play is very, it's supposed to be really it's supposed to be like not a tragedy as such, but it's a mixture really of a strong lesson against society. Against society, that people have to stand up for themselves, to defend their right. When you are wronged, you should say you are wronged. When you have trouble, you should say that I have trouble and I need to be helped, and so on. I think there are many meanings which can be found everywhere in this play. But I think some people may say, well, I don't know. I don't like it, but never mind. The story really is quite interesting. And Saadallah Wannus's play here became really very much famous because of this, being absolutely translated into so many languages. And it's ambiguous, the ambiguity, the beauty of this play. Really, the beauty of this play to some extent is this ambiguity about it, is the openness of the ending, which is the twist and the crazy, ambiguous, sort of shocking, end, which is like a terrible twist, which sometimes cannot be understood completely in the right way. Anyway, this is only literature, and we know literature and fiction and drama and whatever, it's only literature, it's imagination. And maybe if you don't want it, if you like, for example, you can't believe it, again, we say it's literature. Right, I think that's it about the play. If you want anything else, we can discuss it. We can talk about it in whatever way you